We turn now to the UK, where British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is still clinging to power despite his sinking popularity and his party's big losses in local elections. This Thursday began with the resignation of the health secretary, who is thought to be a potential challenger. Then there was word that another challenger within the Labour Party, Andy Burnham, was making a move to possibly replace Starmer. Monty Francis brings us the latest.
You wanted unity and stability.
As the mayor of Greater Manchester and not a member of Parliament, under Labour's rules, Andy Burnham doesn't have the right to challenge Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. But seen as a popular choice among party members, Burnham confirmed late Thursday in a statement he would seek election to Parliament in an apparent bid to unseat the current Prime Minister. The MP with that seat announced he's resigning in order to trigger an election, but Burnham's bid is not certain and would take time.
There are plenty of people within the Labour Party, within Westminster, who want Andy Burnham to be the next Labour Party leader, and they would favour a very prolonged timetable for a new leadership election.
Are you going to resign, Health Secretary?
Earlier on Thursday, and another blow to Starmer's leadership, Wes Streeting resigned as health minister and called for a leadership contest to oust Starmer, saying he had lost confidence in the Prime Minister. British newspapers dubbed it a day of anarchy, but it was unclear if Streeting had the 81 votes or 20% of Labour MPs to mount a challenge. Other cabinet members expressed support for Starmer, arguing the infighting was bad for the Labour Party and for the country.
The Prime Minister has my full support, and I'm really sorry to see Wes go. He has been a brilliant health secretary, but I fundamentally disagree with the position he's taken.
Another potential challenger to Starmer is Angela Rayner, who may also throw her hat in the ring after she was recently cleared of wrongdoing in a tax investigation. Meanwhile, Starmer says he's getting on with governing despite a number of government resignations and a movement within the party against him. Well, more than 81 MPs have publicly called on Starmer to step down, but they've yet to rally around a single candidate to replace him.
For more on this, we can bring in Matthew Torbitt, political commentator and former Labour Party advisor. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us today on the program. So as we heard in that report, it's clear that Keir Starmer has a party revolt on his hands after the elections last week. Now, he said he would listen to the voters and he wouldn't be stepping down. But realistically, can he survive as this potential leadership challenge looms?
You can survive for a little bit. I think we've seen this in the past with British Prime Ministers, even in recent years. You had Theresa May during the whole Brexit era, who survived a vote of no confidence in her own party, but limped on for a few months more because the writing was on the wall and there was enough MPs that didn't have confidence in her. The issue for the Labour Party, we don't tend to dispose of leaders, particularly in government. It's a bit of a new concept, so we don't do votes of no confidence. There would have to be 81 MPs backing a single candidate. It can't just be, anti-Keir Starmer. Has to back a single candidate, and that would automatically trigger a leadership contest. And the Labour Party rulebook also says if Keir Starmer wished to stand in that leadership contest, he would be automatically on the ballot. He wouldn't need any support.
Now, Matthew, we are already beginning to see some candidates aiming to toss their hat into the ring. Who is best positioned to challenge Starmer? Is it Wes Streeting or Angela Rayner or Andy Burnham or someone else?
So I think the best positioned would be those already in Parliament. So you're looking at Angela Rayner, the former Deputy Prime Minister, and Wes Streeting, until yesterday, the Health Secretary. At the moment, Angela Rayner would be the favourite in that contest. She has settled her tax affairs with the tax authorities over here, and that has put her in the clear, so there isn't that cloud hanging over her. And she's what people in this country describe as the soft left, the sort of centre left of the Labour Party, and that's where the bulk of the membership is. So she would likely win in a head-to-head with Wes Streeting or somebody else from that sort of centre right of the Labour Party, very much in the mould of Tony Blair. When it comes to the real favourites, though, Andy Burnham is by far and away the favourite of all Labour Party members across all stripes. The issue for him is he's got to get into the building, and he's obviously put his hat into the ring to be a candidate at the by-election that will be upcoming in Makerfield in the northwest, where he is the Manchester mayor. And if he can get in, he would likely be the favourite. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of deal between Wes Streeting and Andy Burnham, where Andy Burnham would be leader and Wes Streeting would get a nice job in his cabinet.
Now, Matthew, as you just mentioned, if Andy Burnham does want to be a serious contender, he has to have this by-election. Now, is there a risk if he goes forward with this that Labour could lose that seat?
It's a massive gamble, and I've been speaking to Andy for 12 months about this sort of idea. It almost has to be a seat where the Reform Party, the challenging party, are doing well, because anybody can step into a seat that is safe. You're not proving anything. I think if he can prove that he can see off the threat of reform in an area where in the local elections 3 weeks ago, they won 22 out of the 24 seats that were available, then you can sort of say, I can take on the country. I can beat them in the country, not just in the Northwest. So it's a tough ask. But if there's anyone that can do it in that area, it would be Andy Burnham. He has a plus 20 approval rating in the Northwest compared to Keir Starmer's minus 40. And it would almost be existential for the Labour Party if he did lose, because if he can't win there as the most popular Labour Party politician in the country, in an area he's lived for the last 30 years, the Labour Party may get double-digit MPs at the next election, such is the rot that has set in.
Now, Matthew, as the public is watching all of this, how are they reacting to this ongoing political instability?
I think there's frustration. We've had this for quite a few years now, certainly under the Conservatives, and it seems like things haven't moved on. I think there's frustration partly at the Labour Party's leadership and the politics, and some of the policies that have been passed that have been unpopular, certainly with regards to old age pensioners and farmers. And at the same time, I think there's an element of person that feels a bit sorry for Keir Starmer. I've picked up a lot of that, certainly on the airwaves and elsewhere, where people are going, well, he's trying his best. He's done some good things, and actually we don't need all this sort of stuff again. So it's a very mixed feeling. But I think when you are statistically, by all polls, one of the most unpopular prime ministers we've ever had, as far back as polling goes, it can't carry on like this, really, and this would be a chance to potentially save the Labour Party at the next general election.
Now, Matthew, as I mentioned when I introduced you, you were a former advisor to the Labour Party. What do you think Starmer should do in this situation?
Well, I've been fairly consistent. I think Andy Burnham is by far the best option. As someone that I've supported and given advice to. I think Keir Starmer, at the moment, he should stay put. You don't want to trigger anything until Andy Burnham's in the building and let everybody have their say. And Wes Streeting has said the same. He resigned as health secretary yesterday. He didn't trigger a leadership election, I don't think, because he quite has the numbers. And he said himself in his own resignation letter, we need the broadest possible debate, left, right, in the middle, all the rest of it, to see who is the best candidate to take on this mantle of prime minister. So he'll plod on, he'll continue, he will say he's not going anywhere, but ultimately, when that leadership election is triggered for the sake of everybody and for the smoothest transition possible, he would be best resigning with some dignity.
Matthew, thank you so much for joining us today and talking all things British politics. That's Matthew Torbitt, political commentator and former Labour Party advisor.